Tonight, New Zealand High Commissioner Mark Gibb presents credentials to Premier and Cabinet, and Downer provides update on airport parking upgrade. Good evening and welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Mersa Takala. Leading our news tonight, the new New Zealand High Commissioner to Niue, His Excellency Mark Gibb, arrived on the island last week. His Excellency Gibb presented his letter of credentials to Premier Honourable Dalton Tagilangi and Cabinet on Tuesday. BCN News spoke with His Excellency yesterday. On Tuesday morning, the New Zealand High Commissioner to Niue, His Excellency Mark Gibb, was able to officially meet with the Premier and Cabinet at Fale Fono 2, where he also presented his letter of credentials. BCN News spoke with the High Commissioner yesterday morning and said he was honoured to have been appointed the role as Niue's New Zealand High Commissioner for his term and was excited to return to the Pacific, reflecting on his first post in Fiji.
For me, coming to Niue during the 2024 commemoration of the Constitution 50th anniversary, hey, what a year to be here. So much going on in Niue. I know, as I said to the Premier yesterday, in fact, a number of VIPs want to come and visit Niue, and so for me to be here during that is great, and I really want to be part of those commemorations. I want to be part of Niue enjoying and remembering their relationship with New Zealand. I obviously want to advance that relationship, so really being just part of the whole process during 2024 is exciting, inspiring, and a little bit daunting too, I must say.
Mark Gibb is not new to the island. He first visited Niue in 2017 with Dame Patsy Reddy. Although it was only for a day, he reflects on the significant memory he had of Niue at that time.
Back in 2022, the Premier signed a statement of intent with New Zealand and really wanted to build on that. It's the personal relationships. It's also looking at areas we can help with. You know, New Zealand's just assisted to reseal the runway at the airport. We're looking at doing some more work with Downers around the parking area there. So some infrastructure work, but obviously also some capability building, capacity building, where we can help out in those areas. Where we can help out with the commemoration celebrations if there are opportunities where New Zealand might be able to assist. Looking forward to contributing there. And then for me personally, just getting to know the island, getting to know the people, getting out and enjoying what Niue has to offer. And lots of people have told me it's got lots to offer, so I just hope I can do it all my time here in Niue.
Downer Project Manager Greg Smart has given another update regarding the current work underway at the Hannan International Airport. The main parking field at the airport is currently undergoing heavy construction. BCN News spoke with Downer Project Manager Greg Smart this morning.
The whole idea is that the area around the public side of the terminal is going to get a freshen up. Because this year is going to be a big year for Niue, 2024, 50 years since the Constitution, there'll be many visitors. So it's really the final big part of the airport upgrade is to build a new car park out in what was the grass, and then around the canopy, resurface all that area. And we're going to remove those islands that are close to the canopy, and we're just going to have a big open area that merges into the car park, so that there's be much more freer for traffic flow than it is at the moment.
Smart has also advised the members of the public to be cautious, especially on areas cordoned off with cones, especially if they're bringing their children to the airport. About 6 workers are currently working on the site at the moment, and work is expected to be completed at the end of March.
But the public may come and see just that we're digging up all the grass and we're going to worry about where they're going to park. So we're doing the work in 4 sections, and we've started on section 1 at the moment, so people won't be able to park there next plane day, but we expect by the plane day after we'll have a surface on there that they can park on, and then we'll start on section 2, which is the one next door. And for one plane day they can't use that, and so on and so forth. But we expect to have the whole thing finished by the end of March.
The Niue government renewed its memorandum of agreement with the Niue Ship Registry Pte Limited last month in Singapore. Minister of Finance Honourable Crossley Tatui was able to formalise the renewed agreement alongside key officials, including Director of Transport Morgan Mongavalu and the Niue government Solicitor General Justin Kamupala. Here's more on this story.
This renewed agreement will extend for an additional 5-year period. Since its establishment, the Niue Ship Registry has been a valuable source of revenue for the government of Niue, with an estimated $3.7 New Zealand million to assist with various projects and initiatives aimed at benefiting the government and the people of Niue. The Niue government looks forward to continuing its fruitful partnership with the Niue Ship Registry Pte Limited.
The 2022 Niue Census for Population and Housing report was officially launched this week by Statistics Niue. The report, which is released after every 5 years, shows a slight decrease in population compared to the last census report in 2017. According to the 2022 report, Niue population now stands at 1,681. Government statistician Fanuma Sioneholo says work on the 2022 report began late last year and has revealed a slight decrease of Niue's population compared to the 2017 report.
We did training in November, and then the enumerators went out to field on the 11th of November 2022, and that project they went on until November 2023. And in that moment, Matt has been helping us from Stats New Zealand to write the report, and we released it yesterday.
Sioneholo also mentioned that during the time of collecting census, the pandemic had occurred, and so most households were absent at that time.
So 2017 census showed an increase in population, and our count for 2022 showed a decrease for usual residents here on island. At the time when we did the collection of census, we had COVID in the community, and there were quite a lot of households absent at the time.
Senior design analyst of the Pacific Data Capability of Statistics New Zealand, Matthew Flanagan, says for the first time Niue's population census was conducted using tablets. He also revealed that the real state of Niue's population will be understood in future census.
So my job started with helping to design the questionnaire, and for the first time the census in Niue was conducted using tablets. The population census was conducted using tablets, and so my first part of the project was helping to set up the tablets and get the questionnaire to work for that, and then came over and helped to train the interviewers in November 2022. And then Numa's team did the great job of collecting, and once the data was collected, I helped to compile the first draft of the report, which Numa then took on to finalise and complete.
Cabinet ministers and various stakeholders were part of the official launch this week. Members of the public who are interested in a copy can visit the Niue Statistics Office for a copy or visit their website to access this information. A 2-day Kiwi host customer service training organised by Scenic Matavai Resort was held this week. Resort General Manager Aaron Smith says it's great to be bringing this training to the island that involves a wide range of customer service training.
Scenic Hotel Group has been working with a company called Red Seed in Christchurch for some time, and recently they purchased the rights to the Kiwi Host customer service training. So it's great to be able to bring this to the island, not only for our staff, but in partnership with Chamber and Niue Tourism, to be able to offer it to other businesses as well.
2 government gazettes were issued last Thursday presenting the court schedule for the Land Division of the Niue High Court and the Niue Court of Appeal for this month. The Land Court Division is scheduled to start in 2 weeks' time, taking place over a period of 4 days. There are more than 60 cases of this Land Court Division hearing.
The Land Court Division for this month will start from Monday 18th of March until Thursday 21st of March. A total of 55 applications are listed for the Niue High Court Land Division that will be held at the Niue Golf and Sports Club. A total of 8 applications are listed for the Niue Court of Appeal Land Division that will be held at the Niue Public Service Building. According to Acting Registrar of the High Court of Niue, Richard Siatanga, if you have an application before the court or have an interest in any application, contact the court registry staff at the Department of Justice, Lands, Survey and Community Services at Fonuakula Alufi. It is important to reach out early for support or assistance before the court convenes.
A team from the South Pacific Tourism Organization is currently on the island conducting training with Tourism Niue this week. The SPTO's Tourism Data Initiative is a pivotal project aimed at gathering and analyzing tourism data to inform decisions for sustainable tourism development in the Pacific region. South Pacific Tourism Organization Manager Research and Statistics Prashil Prakash shares more on what the Pacific Tourism Data Initiative project is all about.
The project that we are here for is called the Pacific Tourism Data Initiative Project. It has been handed over to SPTO from IUT, which previously housed it under the NZTRI unit. This is a New Zealand government funded project, and the basic initiative under this particular project is the development of 3 surveys, which are namely the International Visitor Survey, named as IVS, and the second survey that we are going to conduct is the Business Confidence Index Survey, and finally there is a third one, which is the Community Awareness Survey.
The project hopes to provide a hub for data that could be accessed by every working division in Niue that they could use when it comes to development of policies.
This is going to provide a hub for data, which every working division within Niue could be able to use in terms of development of policies, or in terms of development of their basic infrastructure for tourism. It's going to provide a data-driven network so that their functions could be better in terms of tourism.
Niue Tourism Director Micah Fuhinu Viviani says their main focus is to work closely with the SPTO team on better ways of collecting data for Niue and for the utilization moving forward. The training on various surveys will provide invaluable insights into community awareness and attitudes towards tourism.
It's good to have the SPTO team here with us on island. A lot of the focus for SPTO's team here is on the data collection and the surveys that they're currently running with Niue Tourism and the island. So we currently have the IVS survey, and there's also a BAS and a CAS survey that will be running shortly. So we're working closely with the SPTO team on ironing that out and how we can better collect data for Niue and for our utilisation moving forwards.
The SPTO's Pacific Tourism Data Initiative project is funded by the New Zealand government and encompasses 10 Pacific Island nations. The initiative is spearheading the implementation and collection of data for the digital measurement and benchmarking dashboard, which sets standards for marketing and sustainable tourism indicators in the Pacific region. A new Japan's Grassroots Grant Project contract was signed last Wednesday between the Embassy of Japan and Niue for the construction of a classroom building for special and inclusive education at Niue Primary School. It was signed by Charge d'Affaires of Japan to Niue, Masaru Oshima, and First Secretary of the Niue High Commission to New Zealand, Hingano Siahane.
In a government press release, the government of Japan will provide grant assistance of 255,040 New Zealand dollars to Niue's Department of Education for this project. It is expected to create a more suitable educational environment for children with disabilities and improve the quality of education in Niue. This is the 7th project Japan has provided to Niue through GGP, which began in 2016. Japan has supported Niue's economic and social development with a total of 1,638,433 New Zealand dollars. The Embassy of Japan is calling for applications for grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, GGP.
An Information and Communications Technology Policy consultation was held last week, bringing together key stakeholders from government departments and the private sector. The consultation served as a platform for members to engage in discussions regarding the ICT policy and its implications for the ongoing digital development of Niue.
During the session, participants had the opportunity to raise questions and provide feedback on various aspects of the policy, exploring how ICT, including emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence or AI, will shape the future path of Niue's socio-economic landscape. Stakeholders actively contributed insights and perspectives, highlighting the importance of collaborative efforts in leveraging technology for sustainable growth and progress. Acknowledgements to the Office of the Secretary of Government, Niue, for the photos used in this story.
The Niue Health Department has commenced its annual mosquito spraying program for 2024 earlier this week. The mosquito spraying team will be spraying in the morning at 6 a.m. and again in the afternoon at 4 p.m. for the designated villages for each day. Starting this week until the 25th of March, members of the community are advised to clean up and destroy all mosquito breeding places from around your home. For the full schedule, contact the Niue Health Department or tune into Radio Sunshine for the community notices. Also this week, a 23-member team from the Rarotonga Golf Club arrived on the island last Saturday on the first chartered flight to Niue for the year. BCN News spoke with event organizer Hagen Siosikefu regarding the tournament that was held this week. Event organizer in Niue golf captain Hagen Siosikefu says most of the Raro team are golf veterans with a few part Niueans. The golf club is touring Niue and will be competing against the Niue team.
For the group coming up from the Raro Golf Club, it's a return trip because last year a group of Niue from Niue Golf Club went up to the Cooks to play golf up there. So this is a return trip for them, and there was a trophy as well that was put up for for the two nations to play for.
The 3 days tournament involved 3 different formats, including a mixed team that included lawn balls as well. Rarotonga Golf Club manager Dominic Johnston says most of the team members are visiting Niue for the first time, and they hope this event will become a biannual event in the future.
What we all understood to be the case through the interaction of both executives is that we will indeed look to having this as a biannual event, or our trip, to good enough excuse for everyone to make it worthwhile a trip to come over. We look to a brighter future with the news also that we will be seeing our ATR to the fleet of our airline back home, which the hope is that will also be allowing a bigger group to come along for the next trip.
CRC Careful hopes this showcased event will lead to a regular flight between Niue and Cook Islands. However, this will be for the government to decide, as they can only promote Niue as a viable option.
Hopefully this is we've started something good that we can be able to carry on in the future, and also help with promoting a flight between Niue and the Cooks in the future. Yeah.
The team left the island today, with some Niueans returning on the same chartered flight. Renowned artist Mark Cross is currently working on reviving and developing a sculpture site in Liku that focuses on the importance of using waste materials to create artwork. An ongoing auction of this painting and artwork is currently underway to raise funds for the project. BCN News spoke with Cross, who is currently abroad on this work. An ongoing auction for the Hikulangi sculpture site in Liku has been running for a while now. Project manager and renowned artist Mark Cross says they have raised about $6,000 so far by auctioning some of his old New Zealand drawings and watercolored subjects from the 1980s and 90s.
We had this land that couldn't grow anything on, and so we just said, oh, well, let's put sculptures on it. And that's how it started. And from there we started building a few big sculptures. The theme was, and still is pretty much, about the environmental issues. In my case, I'm more interested in the pollution rather than the global warming, because it affects us more directly in Niue. I know global warming does in the longer term, but the immediate problem with Niue is the pollution, the plastics and all the cars and things like that.
The Hikulangi Park was established in 1996 by members of the then Tahi Ono Arts Collective, a small group of artists and art enthusiasts who had returned to their Pacific home, countering the trend of urban drift that has devastated many rural and island populations in the Pacific. Cross says most of the sculpture is made from the inorganic waste created by contemporary consumer society.
Came up with this idea. I've got a lot of old paint drawings and artworks from going back 45 years, So I've started auctioning those on a charity website, and nearly all the funds go into the sculpture park, and it's so far, we've been running it for about 6 weeks now, and yeah, it's going really well, but we're trying to build up a bigger following so we can sell more expensive works and more up-to-date works as well, just to and those funds will go towards the development of the park. We need machinery to help clear the park and make it bigger. Tourism has promised to help us continue with their upkeep of the sculpture park.
Cross hopes to establish a non-profit organization as well, and he's currently in New Zealand for an exhibition in April, but will be back on the island in May. Currently, there are only volunteers helping out on the site, as all funds collected will directly go to developing the site. The sculpture site is free for the public to visit.
We also have to set up we're in the process of setting up a non-profit organisation, which we should have done last year, but it hasn't been done. So that's holding us back a little bit. But we're working on that as well. But the whole idea is the land that is cleared there is only about a quarter of the land available. So we're going to put tracks through the bush to other locations and things like that. Yeah, for other sculptures.
The ongoing project hopes to extend land development for more sculptures and to promote discussions on pollution, climate change, and human coexistence. Niue Primary School's Year 5 and 6 students of the Toa Niue Ma'anoiha, or Niue Warriors for the Future group, are soon to fly out to New Zealand next week. The students and teachers over the past year have been readily preparing for this trip, which primary school principal Carol Edwards says is a cultural exchange tour with schools overseas. The group is also looking forward to perform at the ASB Polyfest for the closing day. Last Saturday, the group held a cultural concert at the Paliasi Hall to showcase their efforts for the upcoming tour. Here's more on this story.
BCN News spoke with Niue Primary School Principal Carol Edwards yesterday morning, who shared more about the upcoming cultural exchange. Edwards say the tour group will consist of 49 members, which include 38 students and 11 school staff.
We've got a group of 49, so that comprises of 38 students and 11 adults. That's not counting the parents though. There's about 24 parents going with us, so it's a pretty big group. Our group is called the Toa Niue Ma'anoiha, which means Niue Warriors for the Future, a name that was born in 2020. And some of you may have seen our climate change efforts online from our group. So as the years go by, we continue to have children that call themselves Toa Niue Ma'anoiha.
Edwards say the tour is the first they will ever do abroad, and the main goal is to have the students share their cultural knowledge with family and friends overseas, as there is a big emphasis on wangahau niue abroad.
So last year, we decided that instead of having our normal camp that we have every year for our Year 5 and 6s, that we would have try a cultural exchange overseas so that we can share our cultural knowledge with our families and our friends overseas. And we know that there's a big push for wangahau niue overseas. So we thought that we would take our students. However, we had to get the parents on board. So last year a meeting was called for our parents, and we had to see the level of commitment before we actually committed to doing a group like this to go. It's a big task. And so our children are going. They visit 2 schools, which is Rowandale Primary School and Favona Primary School. And those schools have bilingual units there for wangahau niue and English.
She also spoke about the cultural concert that was held last week, where the students showcased their items and songs that they have been rehearsing for over the past months.
So last week we had a concert. That concert was to showcase some of the items that we would be taking, some of the songs. As you know, we've had an ukulele group for a while in the school, and it's been on and off. However, we revived it again last year. So the concept was to give back to the community, to show the community, show our parents what exactly we had been doing. And because the kids have been staying home staying here after school, and they have been practicing really hard, and they give up lunch times, and they have ukulele classes which they also practice at. So yes, it was to showcase it to the community. It was a successful night.
Edwards also revealed their fundraising drive has been a success, and the enthusiasm on camp amongst the students have been very high as they look forward to this exciting cultural exchange trip. The group flies out next Friday.
Roadworks for the China contractors still continues. They have been working on the roads from Lalakofika, Kaimisi Junction through to Tuila this week. The team would like to let the public know that the roads are temporarily closed to allow the first layer of seal and also for new road and chip sealing. You can contact the Department of Utilities for more updates. And finally, on our bulletin tonight, the Toa Motu Rugby League team conducted its first Pacifica Youth Cup Academy Camp for the year last week, inviting male youths from the ages of 13 to 18 years old. Team coach Dave Ulukita says the PYC Academy is now in its 2nd year running. He said after successful youth development last year, a number of players from the academy who have represented Niue have now signed on to play club footy in New Zealand for the 2024 season.
They've had a huge number of keen young men sign up for the first of 4 academy camps for this year. Ulukita added together with Auckland Niue Rugby League, they were able to provide a player pathway for their youths in Niue to represent the nation at the Pacific Youth Cup last year. The academy camps were designed to develop youths to understand the game of rugby league in the hopes of finding the next NRL star. The Tohomotu team thanks their sponsors and supporters and also their volunteers that make time for the boys.
And just before we end, as we celebrate International Women's Day tomorrow, BCN would like to wish all our strong and beautiful women on the rock a happy International Women's Day. May you keep empowering and inspiring us all. And that's our news tonight. Join us next Tuesday for our Wangahau Niue Bulletin. Until then, good evening.